Cruella DeVille. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. To see her is to see a sudden thrill.
So take a sudden chill.
Take a sudden chill?
To see her is to
take a sudden chill. Cruella, Cruella DeVille. And welcome back. And this is a very, very special episode of Drive Home Reviews. What are you doing? What are you doing back there, demon child?
Being creepy.
Being a demon child.
Oh, ask a stupid question.
It's spelled devil. It's spelled devil.
This is one I've been talking about for a while. I've been dropping the hints. It was going to happen. It was going to happen. And finally, this is the first movie back in a movie theater that I have seen. I have not been in a movie theater to see a new movie to review since The Invisible Man. And I was very lucky.
All the way back in the 80s.
Yeah. I was very lucky, though I don't know how lucky I am now that I'm looking back there. What are you doing?
I have a face, please.
I was very lucky that I was able to take that moment of re-entering a theater, which for me is a big deal, getting back to normal. And I was able to share that, one, with my beautiful girlfriend, Rebecca, and her wonderful children, including Rivy, returning to us to give us her expert Disney opinion, which she gladly shared with us during the Raya the Last Dragon review. I don't know. I don't know if I had any plans on which movie it was going to be. Or it has to be a big movie to go back to see. It kind of landed on this one, and I
Loved it.
and we jump right to the quick. I'm going to say before we kind of get into it that I've always had kind of a built-in, not prejudice. What's the word? A built-in dislike of the Disney live-action remakes as a whole. And this concept of we have to do these villain movies to suddenly make these villains deep. I'm from the old school of I like my Disney villains evil.
And not just Disney villain, like any villain.
Yeah.
You're not a big fan of the villain origin story.
I know, I like the villain origin story, but I'm saying there are certain genres, James Bond, Disney, where the villains are just cool because they're freaking evil.
Right.
You know, I don't need to know that Ratigan was abused as a child, or Ursula's daddy didn't hug her enough, or, you know, Jafar was a street kid. I don't care.
Or Cruella's mom got pushed off of a mountain with fun dogs.
Yes. You know, I want my Disney villains just evil, and I don't need a backstory. So I went into this one a little, I already had my shields up a little bit. But, that being said, and Rivy already jumped to it,
That's good.
I liked it. I'm very surprised to say that, to sit here and say that there's one of these Disney live action whatevers. Not since Christopher Robin have I really
Like the Disney
liked one of them. And here we are. So yeah, initial impressions. What did you all think going into this? What were you expecting?
I was expecting it to be really good.
You were?
You were? Yeah. Well, she really likes the Disney live actions. Like,
Yeah.
she has rewatched the Aladdin one like 8 million times. This is one of the points of disagreement between the two of you.
To each their own.
But I think I didn't look too much into it. Like, I saw that it was coming out. I haven't really been following trailers or anything because I didn't, it's the end of the school year, everything's busy. I had a lot of other stuff on my plate, so I didn't really look into it. I knew Emma Stone was in it, and that was about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what to expect from it.
Yeah, this is kind of one that I knew they were making, but I didn't know it was made already.
Right.
Until it was like, oh, it's out. I guess the thing I have to say right off the bat, and I think this is the first thing we said when we left the theater, is how in the hell did Disney make a better Joker movie and a better Harley Quinn movie than the actual Joker and Harley Quinn movies?
Like, there's this part where she's walking around talking to her deceased mother, and she's got streaks of soot down her face, and her hair's all over the place, and it's like the coloring is all gray. The coloring, we'll get to that, like the coloring in this movie, but it was like, this is exactly what the Joker wanted to be and never was able to get to.
And I think we were talking about this morning. For me, it's because looking at the Joker, and when I say that, I'm talking about the Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
You know,
one, yeah.
the one that everyone was praising a few years ago. To me, that one was just utterly pompous and so up its own ass with its, you know, oh, this is so important. Society did this to him, which, no, it didn't. And it's just so overblown with its own bombacity. This one, I think wisely, because it takes place in the, let's be honest, the very superficial world of high fashion. Kind of said we're going to be superficial. We're playing into the superficiality of it, and we're going to let the heavier moments, like that really great moment where she's talking to the fountain, which is representing her dead mother. We're going to let those kind of sneak up on you and kind of draw your attention. That's a magic trick.
Right.
We're going to draw your attention with the flashiness and the costumes and the, you know, the over-the-top girl boss, you know, hot topic, you know, kind of sensibilities of it, and then let the more tender moments and the more realistic moments. Yeah.
2 points. Okay, first of all, I hate the term girl boss because you never say boy boss when
That's
you're
true.
referring to a guy who's like doing businessy business. No, you never say boy boss. So let's just get rid of that girl boss term. Second of all, fashion.
Sold.
Okay, let's talk about the fashion world, because the fashion world, first of all, this is coming from a costume person. Fashion is a microcosm of society at the time. And fashion is one of the first places where people are allowed to rebel. And most fashions that have taken hold have been some form of rebellion. Okay? So, fashion as rebellion is huge. Second, like, going further into that, the late 60s and early 70s in London were a huge fashion time, and they really play off of this. This is what's interesting about this is, yes, it's a villain origin story, but this could have really happened. Like, none of this was over the top, and it played into history.
A little over the top.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I mean,
like it, but it played into history is what I mean. Like, you had prior, like, to the 1970s, you had these, sorry, we're having a frappuccino finishing back here. You have these fashion designers, like the big names are like Dior and Chanel and Givenchy, and they have these very streamlined, very sophisticated, like, looks and silhouettes. And that's really, I think, where Emma Thompson's character, like, that's who she's representing, are these fashion houses with these, you know, they're cutting edge, they're new, but they're still pretty safe and traditional and what you would think of as high fashion. And then you have this person come in, and Cruella really is this, like, Vivienne Westwood character who's taking the punk rock scene and she's translating that into fashion and using her fashions to make a statement about rebellion. And it's like, I mean, and so much of it was very Vivienne Westwoody, like the having the more non-binary kind of drag queen character as some of her, like, fashion assistants, and really embracing the whole concept of trash as art, and graffiti and all these bright colors, and taking things like the Union Jack and using it, and, like, basically, like, degrading it and using it as part of their fashion. It was very, very much on point for, like, what you would expect to see from someone like Vivienne Westwood. So, anyways, fashion lecture over.
Rivy, what was your favorite costume in the movie? Which outfit did you like the best?
Garbage costume.
The garbage costume?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, I wouldn't spoil it for anybody, because that moment of the dress unveiling.
You'll spoil it.
The dress unveiling itself, that was
amazing.
It was really amazing.
It was like the longest dress ever.
You can definitely tell that this was a costume designer's.
Oh.
Like, whoever, whenever they handed out the assignments at the Disney studios of who was going to design each movie.
It was either that or the one where she's standing on the car. Yeah, those two are big.
Yes, this is like super long dress with, I mean, it's just beautiful. That's, I mean.
And I'm not a fashion guy, obviously. Clearly.
What?
I know, right? Shocking.
River, are you dying of a heart attack from shock, River?
Yes.
But even I have to admit, yeah, the costuming in this was phenomenal. There was a lot of nice stuff to look at.
The
You got a
dresses, the colors, and like she uses fashion in a way that's like, I mean, she really is making statements, but she's also using things like using flash paper to catch a cape on. I mean, that was just so cool. And
then like it was a black and white bond, and then she was like red, so like that was just to make her stand out.
Yeah, exactly. Now, speaking of the fashion, and with Emma Stone as Cruella, how do you think that she did?
I actually think she did very well. Emma Stone is one of those actors that I like, but I can't say I've seen her in a lot of movies I liked her in. You know, I was not a fan of La La Land. Those Amazing Spider-Man movies were garbage.
Superbad does not hold up.
Superbad certainly does not hold up. I thought it was mildly funny at the time. But
now it's very offensive.
Yeah. Easy A was cute.
It was good.
That was
an
cute.
Interesting story.
But she's one of those actors which I've always acknowledged is good, but I can't say I saw her in a lot of good things. And I feel like this really was this is kind of her, I don't want to say coming out party, but
it's kind of a turning point though, because she does. I mean, she really basically plays two different characters.
And that's kind of the big thing. And we were making the Joker and Harley Quinn comparison, but that's not just a glib comparison. The whole thrust of it is her being Estella, her real name, and creating this facade of Cruella to carry out this revenge plot against Emma Thompson. And the whole story becomes that getting lost inside the monster you've created, and blurring the lines. You know, where did Estella, end and Cruella begin, or was she always Cruella?
Can she still exist?
Yeah,
having both parts.
And
of her?
I think
she does it all without getting to a point where you're just like, stop preaching at me. Oh,
yeah, I actually, there was not a moment in it where I wasn't fascinated by her performance.
Right.
And this is clearly a film where you could tell she was having a ball.
Oh yeah.
And again, that's the great thing about villains, is you can tell people just have a ball playing Disney villains or Bond villains because they are so over the top.
Well, and I mean, you've been in a lot of production stuff too. Like, I always got cast as the goody two shoes, the nice person, the sidekick, and then when you actually get to play the bad guy, it's a lot of fun to play the bad guy.
So I actually was very impressed by her performance. I can actually say I've seen her in a movie I actually liked her in now. So
yeah, and I feel like she did the Cruella mannerisms. In some places, you're looking at her like she's hunched over in a specific way or something, and it's like, oh, that is very much
you
loved
when she and her henchmen are escaping and they're driving,
the car.
And she's hunched over.
Yes, it looked just like the cartoon, didn't it? Yeah, but not all the time. She didn't do it. It wasn't like she was
violent.
Yeah.
This one, however, is like screaming out the like needle drops or Easter eggs, like or references from 101 Dalmatians, like she's a fanboy at a Marvel film.
Well, I was like I didn't expect it.
They bring in
Anita Darling and Roger.
Yeah, but like the problem was in the cartoon that they were like so white that you could basically see through them, and in this one they were black.
Well, yeah, that was a really cool thing they did.
Well, she was black. He was
Like,
Was he Indian?
Yeah.
I think he was
Indian.
but he looked like he was black, white mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the Jasper character was a mix.
Jasper was, yeah.
So that you bring up a good point, Rose. I really loved that they did a lot of mixed casting.
I
in
like that they did the mixed casting, but what I also like is kind of like you're saying, it wasn't one of those things with look at me.
Yeah.
It felt like an organic thing. I found a lot of things.
And it makes sense. You live in a big city. Like, of course, it's not all going to be white people. They're going to be, if you're in London, there's going to be a lot of people from India and a lot of black people. I mean, like, everybody's not going to be white. So, yeah.
You know, so yeah, but it felt like it was a natural casting and didn't feel like it was stunt casting.
No.
We're doing this to be woke.
Look how awesome we are.
We're doing this because this is, this person fits the character. This works.
This part of the movie has nothing about what we're talking about, but like, I thought it was really funny when he's like, this car is named Devil, and then he's like, it's pronounced Deville. And then she's like, I like that, and she made it her last name.
Yes.
That was good.
Yeah, Horace and Jasper.
Oh, they were perfect.
Were just phenomenal. I don't know the actors' names, but they worked very well off each other.
Something Hauser was Horace. I can't remember his first names, but he's been in a lot of little bit parts, and Kimmy Schmidt and stuff like that. But he was just perfect as this bumbling guy, and then Joel Fry as Jasper is like kind of the straight guy character.
And their little dog Wink.
Oh, Wink.
The little chihuahua with one eye.
Patch.
It's so cute.
Oh,
but yeah, they
Wink
worked.
as the rat was the funniest thing. Like, I was dying.
Okay, so we're gushing.
Okay.
So clearly, everybody, there was stuff we enjoyed about the movie. Go ahead.
So, sorry for cutting you off.
That's all right. That's all right. Free form.
When you watch like 101 Dalmatians, you never would have thought that they were the puppies from like these 3-kilo dogs that killed someone. Like, you never think that was what they would be. That those would be the parents, and then like it was like.
That was one of the weirder kind of plot twists, is that she hates Dalmatians because they killed her mom.
But no, because she adopts the dogs, though.
Yeah.
So she doesn't hate the Dalmatians. She recognizes that they're being used as a weapon. So yeah, and I'm thinking, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yes, we always make the inference in 101 Dalmatians that Cruella's going to skin the dogs and use them to make a coat.
Because she says that's what she's going to do.
No, she says she's going to make a Dalmatian coat. She never says she's going to use their skin.
No.
She tells them, are we talking about the animated movie?
Yes.
She tells Jasper and Horace to kill the dogs to use their skins. I don't care how you do it. Club them, drown the little beasts.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that part.
She fucking
there's
says.
Horses. Horses.
She doesn't say
oh, sorry, there was horses.
Welcome to short attention span people.
Oh, but okay.
No, she says we're skinning these dogs.
Okay,
that is.
Okay. Now.
But in this one, she just used the dogs. She made it look like
she made it look like.
Made a design.
Yes.
Like, this Cruella would never skin a dog, but the other one is a lot different from this kind of Cruella.
Well, I think what's interesting is that they kind of lead you to think that she's going to. And kind of in that, like we were talking about, that question of where does the one persona end and the other end, there's a moment where I believe she was actually considering it. And then the good part of her personality kind of took over and wouldn't let her.
And then her crazy mom thought that she did, and then she wanted to, and then when she tried to kill her, she blamed it on someone else, and she didn't go to jail at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of story. It will make sense when you watch the movie. So,
can't tell you how she went to jail, but she did.
Anyways, I think that honestly, so being a fan of musical theater and the musical Wicked and reading the book it was based on, I honestly think that this movie is gonna do for me what Wicked did to The Wizard of Oz, in that I can't watch The Wizard of Oz now without comparing it and being like, well, you guys really need to give The Wicked Witch a break because you don't understand what's really going on here. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch 101 Dalmatians now.
Because to me, I go the opposite way, because I don't view it as an actual origin story. It's, for lack of better terminology, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, it's fan fiction.
Okay.
We're using this idea as the jumping off point to tell this other story. I don't actually see this as a prequel to a multiverse story, if you need to go that route. You know, because nothing really lines up with, you know, making it a prequel to anything. It's its own entity thing, just using the familiar story as the groundwork.
Well, and I mean, familiar, you say the word familiar, and that makes me think of, like, the sets. Like, it was reminiscent of the cartoon, like the apartment buildings and the, like, it looked so much like the cartoon.
They're using a visual shorthand,
but without it looking cartoony.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like in the Joker, a lot of the stuff looked cartoony. In the Batman Begins movies, like, everything looks dark but it looks fake and cartoony.
Nice hair flip.
I don't feel like this ever crossed that line. And
I think it went cartoony, but in the way it was supposed to. Because it has a very, again, kind of artificial look to it. But I think that played into it. Okay, so we're gushing.
Okay, negatives.
So is there anything about this film we didn't like? Rivi, was there anything about this film you did not like?
How the dogs killed her mom, like, if they didn't do that, like, and how we figured out that the person made her dogs kill her. And then she blamed it on herself until she really figured that out.
So you don't like the mistreatment of the animals as a weapon?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Very good. Babe?
I think they're, like, honestly, the only thing that I can think of, like, flaw-wise, like, obviously I didn't like that aspect of it, but the only flaw that I can think of is there was an aspect at the end where they used CGI that just looks like really fake, and it took me out for a second.
What was the CGI?
When she parachutes.
Yeah.
And it made...
I didn't notice the CGI. I just thought it was a big
Yeah, it was. Yeah. For me, it was the length.
Oh yes.
It was long, and it got to a point where I felt like the story was kind of going in circles, and they needed a little bit of streamlining. I think there are a couple scenes that could have been cut down or trimmed or eliminated, and you would have kept the story, but you would have kept it leaner.
I disagree, and I think it's because you come from a director point of view and I come from a designer point of view, and I feel like if you cut any of the stuff out, you would have missed some of the visual amazingness. Like, I just feel like I don't think it was too long, and the fact that my other daughter CJ sat and watched the whole thing without getting up once, I mean, she had, talk about the short attention span.
It is true.
Like,
I don't know, there was a point where I found myself nostalgic for the runtime of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, it was not that long.
Because at least as boring as Lord of the Rings was, at least I felt like it was moving forward, and I just felt like this one went around in circles.
Oh my gosh, I don't think you could have cut out anything.
I think there's things you could have trimmed.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Mark Strong's character in this.
Oh, good old Mark Strong.
Like, he is really kind of like one of those, well, first of all, Mark Strong, of course, is like buff Stanley Tucci guy. But he's been in a lot, and he really is just like a workhorse kind of guy. Mm-hmm. He will carry whatever he needs to.
Yep.
Like, and Emma Thompson.
Was he the guy that saved Cruella?
Yeah, he was the butler, the bald guy.
That was my favorite. That was like one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah. So, and Emma Thompson as the Baroness.
Basically, Cruella version 1.0.
Yeah. Like,
you never would have thought that the butler would have been like a really big part of this. You thought he would have just died, but like.
Yeah.
But I was trying to remember the last time I've seen Emma Thompson in something that's not, I mean, just her being so villainous in. And I can't really think of, like, I think she did a great job, though. Like,
yeah, she didn't veer over into camp.
No.
She let Emma Stone do the camp.
And she did still have that humor, that dry, like, that evil humor was very good. There are some parts that I'm not going to talk about that were amazing, that I literally, like, laughed out loud in the theater, not because it was funny, just that, like, the idea of it was so amazing, like her showpiece dress at the oh my gosh,
There's a lot of clever writing,
yes,
and directing,
but it was Emma Thompson was great, and there was so many. Oh, the fact that we had I'm gushing again. We were in negatives, and then I couldn't think of any negatives, so I'm going to talk about other things I like again. There's a lot of anti-hero movies and a lot of anti-hero TV and stories, but not a lot of female anti-hero, and definitely not a lot of good female.
Yeah, I think that's the big one. There have been some anti-hero,
like Harley Quinn, but
we don't discuss those movies.
No.
Those are terrible.
Yeah, and Harley Quinn as a character is just absolutely problematic. So yeah,
that's another discussion.
Yes,
I
think that we've had that discussion on a video somewhere.
Yeah.
But to have this female anti-hero and to do it in a way that they've been trying to do for even like male characters and have it come off so well, honestly, this movie was triumphant for me.
So you should definitely go see it.
All right, well, and Ruby brings us to kind of our closing thoughts. So it's the end of the school year. They're already out of school. I still have work school to do, but work school.
Work school.
Yes, good English. But let's grade it. Rivy, final grade for Cruella.
9.5 out of 10.
Okay, give me a letter grade.
That would be a 95. So that'd be an A.
That'd be an A.
Yeah, it'd be an A.
Okay,
Yeah.
so an A for Rivy. Babe.
I gotta say it's an A+ for me. Honestly, there was not much that did not work for me in this movie. I really enjoyed it. I was not expecting it, and I just
Okay.
It's
Like,
an A+.
if they didn't use the dogs as weapons, then it would have been a 10. But that did make a good story plot. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bounced back and forth because it was a big surprise for me, and I did like it a lot more than I thought I was going to do. I still maintain the runtime is problematic for me. It feels like it drags and goes in circles. But that all being true, the story is still good, the acting is still good, the visuals are amazing. It's more than I ever expected, and definitely, finally, I guess, they say even a blind pig finds a truffle every now and then. I guess eventually one of these things had to be good. So you know what? I'm gonna join the party, and I'm gonna go an A-.
Oh.
Little lower, but still well worth it, and still a fun time. It's crazy, but in just the right way.
You gave a Disney live-action movie an A.
I did, and it earned it.
This is still another part of the movie, but like it's not a part of the movie. But what if they made like the big fuzzy Dalmatian, not fuzzy, like the big scary Dalmatians, like cute little like chihuahuas, like.
Would have changed everything.
Would have been a very different movie. I think chihuahuas are that mean, though.
They are.
Yeah,
they are mean animals.
If you want a small but devilish dog, get a chihuahua.
So, all right. So we thank you very much for joining us. First movie back in a theater. It felt great. It was wonderful to share it with these wonderful ladies and the two that aren't here.
Probably would have given it like a 1 to 8.
Yeah. But
I do have one thing to ask.
Okay.
So we went and saw it, and since it was our first time back, we went to see it in the movie theater with the restaurant and the recliners and the
That was the
niceness.
best movie theater ever.
Do you think the comfort level and being in that kind of environment positively influences your take on a movie?
No.
No, you don't think so?
I've sat in reclining chairs and whatnot, a lot of theaters around here, and the movie's still terrible. Like, it doesn't, it just means I'm more comfortable while I'm watching a bad movie. But on that, just to wrap up, so movie theaters are starting to reopen. Please go out, go to your local theater if you feel comfortable, if you feel safe. You know, don't do it if you don't feel like it. And definitely when you do, take your safety precautions, wear your mask, social distance, all the spiel. But the movie theaters are opening, folks. That, for me, that's a big part of getting back to life. And get out, go to your local movie theater, support your local movie theater, and help get them back on their feet. All right? But that's my public service announcement. Thank you both for joining me. And as always, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.